It's got nippy out here, Dom. When the nippy, it's getting nippy, don't. When it gets nippy out here, Don. You think it'll get nippy, Don? Yeah, I want the Washington Redskins to win, dog. But if the game is rigged, then like, how could you win though? Yeah, I mean, you could still win even if the game is rigged. I mean, obviously Donald Trump won, even though the game was fucking rigged, and they were like, "Come on, that's the best," because she's brown skin, fucking whatever woman. I mean, obviously people didn't buy that shit, but I'm saying like, obviously you could rig the game at least psychologically. You know what I'm saying? So but no doubt that Kamala Harris shit was fucking creepy as fuck. It was like the cyborgs from Star Trek: The Next Generation. It was like George Orwell Borgs. It was like, we will win, we will win. We're not going back. We're not going back. It was like, fucking ridiculous like campaign. Like, obviously it was so retarded. It was beyond retarded. It was like the stupidest fucking. It was the Kamala Harris campaign is like the worst presidential campaign I've ever seen in my life. It was like Star Trek the Borg. It was like, we will win. Our communists will win. All of us together will become one order. Like, it was fucking, it was scary almost. I mean, it was bad. It was horrendous. That fucking campaign just was like the worst thing. It's from a writing perspective, from a marketing perspective, everything was horrible about it. I mean, it was just fucking horrible. It's like the most horribly run campaign I've ever seen. It was awful. Ah, dude, down. Dude, I'm trying to work. So let's get the Playtopia done. All right, bring it on. Bring the skill, don't. So thunderstorms coming in. Somebody knocked on the door last night. I don't know who it was. Yeah, I don't know who it was. It was like, late at night, but now the rains and the floods are going to come. I don't know if it was the nizzers, if it was niggers or whatever. But okay, I mean, we live Louisiana nizzers. That's been a problem for a long time for Texans with nizzers. And the thing with nizzers is that it becomes a problem. All right, because nizzers kind of don't really follow the law, and they're kind of messy, and they're kind of trashy, and they're from Louisiana. Nizzers kind of, the problem with the nizzers is that they're kind of like they don't really follow laws and they're kind of fucking trashy. The problem, that white European civilization has is that not that we're perfect or anything, but they kind of live like they're in Africa and shit, like in an African tribe, and they kind of fart everywhere and throw trash everywhere. The problem with the Africans is they kind of do whatever the fuck they want. It's kind of not really, it's not legal. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, we had this problem with black people, going back to Hurricane Katrina. When they came to Houston, Texas, it was like, what the fuck? Why didn't you stay in Louisiana? But they all came to Texas. We've had this problem for a long time with African Americans. Yeah, we've had this problem for a long, long time. It's not like a new problem. It's an old problem. But, have a Jerry Maguire attitude. I'm like, I love black people. Like that's my general kind of like societal attitude. But, this guy, this young kid over here, he plays with dog shit. He throws his trash everywhere. He breaks glass. He's breaking old ladies' vases. He's getting metal rods and he's fighting with it. So he's in danger of poking his eye out or poking another little kid's eyes out. He's just a nuisance. He's like Dennis the Menace, And so hate to sound like an old man, but I'm getting older and I'm like, you're going to poke somebody's eyes out, That's an old man to say. That's the old man thing to say, but really, this guy doesn't give a shit what he's doing. Yeah. This guy doesn't give a shit what he's doing. It's not racism. It's just the guy doesn't give a fuck, So the problem is, the guy doesn't give a fuck what he's doing. And he's fucking throwing trash. And, my family, that's our biggest pet peeve is cleanliness. It's trash. It's like, you can't be trashy from Louisiana. You can't be black people trashy from, that's just like, you're trashy. You're trashing the neighborhood. You're bringing down the property values. You're just fucking shit up. And it's just like, why? Why don't you keep your shit clean? And what's even worse, he breaks other people's shit. And he fucks up people's shit. And if this is how he is as a kid, I hate to see when the African-American boy grows up to a man and he becomes a man. Because he's really going to fuck up shit when he becomes a teenager. I would say as a white guy, I started off like kind of like a fan of black people. But the older I get, I realize like, fuck that. Like I'm not a fan of black people anymore. Like I'm just not at all. Like, yeah. I know you can't deport the people back to Africa, but it's like, dude, it's fucking, I wouldn't care if Donald Trump deported black people back to Africa, back to the Congo or the Rwanda or whatever. It's like, dude, we don't live like that over here, dude. Like, this is not Africa. It's fucking America. So that is the problem with the Africans is they don't understand that this is not Africa. So that's a problem, Maybe the slave trade is to blame while they're here, but it's a fucking constant nuisance, isn't it? European and white society. Even Latinos are like, man, black people are kind of a problem, right? They are. Let's not joke about it. Let's be honest. They're a fucking problem. The 13%, they cause 90% of the crimes. They're a problem. No doubt. They are. I'm not going to mince words about the African Americans. We know who's causing. We know the 13% of African Americans. We'd be like South Africa if they're half the population. They'd be hundreds. They'd be killing white people. They'd be killing Caucasians. Like South Africa, they're purging all the white people out of there. So, yeah, thank God they're not like a huge swath of the population. They do enough damage already in our society. So thank God that people from the African continent are to a lower extent 13%. Because if they were any bigger, we would probably have a real second civil war, like South Africa. It would be a really horrible one. Yeah, I mean, I guess every white person in the country, you're kind of woke, you're kind of brainwashed. Like every Caucasian white person is like, oh, love black people, equality, and all this stuff. And then, but the older you get, you're like, no, the people are fucking up shit. They're bringing down the property values. They're fucking doing criminal activity. Like it's not. No, I'm sorry. It's not. There is no equality between races. There's no equality between people. Like that is such like lies and bullshit by the media and shit. Yeah, of course, there's Samuel Jackson, and there's fucking, like football players and basketball players. But besides that, like, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean? Society tries to guilt trip for its former, slave trade. And, I don't really feel guilty about that because I wasn't part of the slave trade. Neither were my ancestors, so I don't give a fuck. But yeah, society likes to guilt trip on the slave trade. But African people, they traded their own people in the slave trade. It wasn't just Europeans. So but if I was Spanish or European, I would have let black people live in Zibongo because in Zamunda and Wakanda and shit because it's not working out well anywhere they ever came to. Okay, so and God bless them, God bless black people, but man, it's just not working out. You know what I'm saying? And God bless the African American and the African people, but shit ain't working out. Yeah, I make breakfast. Ugh. So that so they're trying to use white guilt for slavery, but like it doesn't really work anymore because, well, the nation's like 200 million white people, and so it's not working. There's 200 million white European English speaking people in this country. It's not really working. White guilt tripping every single one. It's just not. It's not working out for the left, for the communists, for the Democrat Party. So because eventually a white Christian guy in this country filled with white European ancestors are going to think, where's my shit? Where's mine? Where's white straight male stuff? Eventually, white straight males are going to be like, we've been getting fucked in the ass since Barack Hussein Obama. So who represents us? Yeah. So eventually, white people are going to be like, hold on, we're the majority in this country, and we're getting butt fucked by Barack Hussein Obama and the Clintons. Eventually, the white straight males and the white straight people of this country are going to be like, what? We're getting fucked in the ass by Barack Hussein Obama and his surrogates. Eventually, we figured it out. But many white liberals, many white youth fell for it the first time. The Democrat Party's scheme of, hey, look, there's a black guy. Don't you feel guilty about slavery? Look, he's a half African, half white guy. A lot of people fell for it the first time in 2008. We don't really fall for it so much anymore. It was a good trick the first time you tried it, but now they keep trying. The Democrat Party keeps trying. Oh, look, there's a mixed race Indian African person. Don't you want to vote for that? Don't you feel guilty, white people? It's not really working now. It's just not working anymore. It used to fool the electorate really hard. You know, like, hey, look, there's a mixed race person. There's Barack Hussein Obama. Look, there's a Muslim. It used to really fool people, but it's not anymore, you know? So, look, there's a Muslim. Yeah, it's just not working anymore. There's a Muslim. So, I'm not a fucking Arab. So how many people in this country are Arabs? Low percentage? That's a low percentage. Sorry. Most people in this country aren't fucking Muslims or Arabs or fucking Islamic. That's just the truth. That's a small percentage of people. Stop loving down. Yeah. So we tolerate foreigners and black people and, you know, illegal aliens to a point until we don't. So we tolerate people. We have tolerance and equity and inclusion and diversity to a point until we don't tolerate it. So, right. Until we go into Michael Douglas falling down territory where we don't tolerate anyone who's not white and who's not a European, who's not Caucasian, who doesn't speak English. So So we tolerate people in this country until we don't. Yeah. So, yeah. We tolerate people of different ethnicities and races and skin color until we don't. Yeah. So we tolerate these people until we've had enough. Yeah. It's not really infinite toleration. It's like we tolerate people until, well, we don't do it anymore. So that's the level of American tolerance. So it's like we have a tolerance for it until we're like, okay, it's enough. There's enough motherfuckers from the Congo and shit, or there's enough people from fucking Venezuela. There's a point where we tolerate it just for a little while. Foreign languages, foreign people, foreign colors until we don't tolerate it. Foreign religions, there's a point where we don't tolerate it anymore. You know, obviously every society in the Western world has a certain toleration point. Yeah, and so there's a certain toleration point that every Western civilization, every country in Western democracies has a point and of toleration. Has a point where they don't tolerate people from Rwanda anymore and stuff like that. There's a point of like we can't handle it. So it doesn't mean we're racist. It just means that there's a point where our country doesn't tolerate that shit. And so it's just a point. That, yeah, so we have the sausage and the bacon. Now we have to make. Oh, were you dancing last night? Yeah. Fucking dancing, G. So we were getting it G'd. Yeah. So it's not like that we're not tolerant of other cultures. It's just, you know, there's a limit to the tolerance though. Like there's a limit to the bullshit. I mean, every culture has a limit to bullshit. Every single culture, every single nation, every single ethnicity has a limit to bullshit from other foreigners and other people that look different or they sound different. Every single culture has a limit to it. It's not just an American thing. And in fact, probably America's more tolerant than most countries because, you know, it's enshrined in our laws. So, it's not as uber liberal as like Norway or Sweden or, you know, countries in the European Union, but it's kind of like with the liberal global world order and Barack Hussein Obama got really liberal for a long time. So, not so much anymore, but it was uber like mega leftist communist liberal for a long time in this country, at least from 2008 to 2016 and 2020 to 2024. It was like a leftist, it was a leftopia for a while. All right, so get this on the queue down. Is it like 11:31? Yeah, there's thunderstorms coming down in Texas. Yeah. Yeah. So when the Hurricane Katrina refugees came to Houston, it wasn't really with arms wide open. It was like, oh my God, there's tons of black people. Okay, so that's what most of Houston was thinking. Even the Hispanic population was like, oh crap, there's lots of African people. Because they knew that's going to be increased crime and increased, you know, laziness and sloth. And there's going to be increased, the neighborhood's going to degrade. And so a lot of people were like really upset about tons of Africans coming to Houston, Texas. Not because they're racist, but they knew what was going to happen. So people are afraid of African world coming to America world because they know that African world doesn't have laws and rules. So they don't have due process. They don't have, in African tribes, they don't have personal property as yours. They don't have such laws like we have in the United States and Western civilization where you have property ownership. It's in African tribal, people take your shit all the time. So that's African. like law is where they steal your shit, they break your shit all the time. So there's the fresh water, Lou. Love you. That's good. So what Europeans have enshrined in their law and what Americans have enshrined in their law, Western civilization in general, is property rights. And unfortunately, some people from third world countries, South America, Latin American countries, some people from African countries, they don't respect property rights. They just don't. And so that's a big problem. They don't respect that somebody earned something and they have a property and that's theirs. So black people are like, oh, somebody has stuff. Oh, that's mine. Okay, so that's a tribal way to think from Africa, but it's not correct. So white people aren't moaning about Africans when they come from Louisiana or from Atlanta, Georgia, or wherever into our cities and towns. We're not really angry. We're not like racist, like ethnic racist, but we're angry because they're not going to respect property rights. We know that. And the crime is going to go up and the property value is going to go down. We already know that. We know that black people, when they come into our towns and cities, are going to revert to a tribal type state. They're going to revert to a African tribal type state where there's no laws. We know they're going to revert to some kind of primordial tribal savage state, and it's not going to be good for us. And it's not like we're not like Jerry Maguire. We love black people. It's just we love black people. I mean, what would we do without black people? I mean, it's awesome. But the thing is, yeah. But the problem with living next to black people is they don't respect personal individual property rights. So a black kid in your neighborhood, he goes and he breaks all the vases and he breaks all the fucking shit like this kid next door. He takes other people's shit, he steals people's shit, and he thinks it's his. But it's not, because he doesn't respect property rights, because he doesn't have a dad beating his ass, because they're single moms, and African American guys they just load up the sperm and they leave. All right, so they have like 2 or 3 kids and then they fucking leave. So that's a problem in the African American community, is that these people fucking, fuck the bitches and then they leave with tons of fucking kids, and then they're single mothers on welfare. And so that's a problem in African society in particular. So we have a problem with deadbeat dads who don't raise their children right. So you have all these black young males running around society that don't have a dad to beat their ass, to tell them to clean their room and keep shit orderly. So they run around fucking up shit. Now the white race is European race is going extinct because it doesn't breed without paying for it. Because we're not. So even as there's a socio-economic divide between rich and poor and the middle class is disappearing in American society, still white people are not generally want to have a bunch of fucking kids that they can't pay for. Unfortunately, Latinos and African Americans are hard at work at that. Now, white people in this country know better than to have children without being able to pay for it. It's just, ingrained in our existence, in our makeup. But reproduction is a problem that most mankind faces. It's not just me. It's like the entire society the entire human civilization faces a reproduction crisis. It's not just myself or this neighborhood or this city or this state or this country or this world. The entire world has a reproduction crisis. Because, now, I could blame the men for watching porno and jacking off and playing with their dicks. Okay, I can blame the men for playing with their dicks and saying fuck bitches and fuck it, I'm not gonna have any kids. Fuck the human race. I can blame guys for it, but really, who has the keys to the kingdom? Who has the keys to the vagina? It's the women. They're rejecting the men. Okay, they're at fault because they're chasing all the 6 feet tall, 6 figures. It's the 666 rule. Okay, so that's what they're doing. So I blame the women because they're the keepers, the reproduction. They have the keys to the vagina. I don't blame the men because they're getting rejected. It's not their fault. They could do a little bit harder work if they want to get these stuck-up bitches to get laid, but it's not our prerogative to do that. 90% of the women in this society in the world are going after 10% of the men. That means they're rejecting all the other guys who aren't 6 feet tall, 6-figure income. So that's really the problem, is that every guy is not going to be a rich fairy tale guy. So the problem is that all the women in the society think that they're going to marry a handsome prince and Cinderella, and that's not the reality. Oh, that all the women in this society think they're going to marry a handsome, rich prince. Even the ugly ones. Even the fat ones. Even the fucking 90% of women are chasing 10% of the top elite men. Period. So females are going sniffing around. The Meghan Markles are going out there. The Meghan Darkles. They're going out there and they're like, okay, who's the prince? Where's Prince Harry? All the bitches out there are going, okay, who's got money? And they're not fucking choosing guys based on their attractiveness, their work ethic. They're choosing them based on their socioeconomic class. They're saying they're like, so women are gold dicking bitches these days. They're going into the affair. They're like, okay, who's got cash? Who can pay for me? All right, who's got the flow? All right, who's the prince? Who's the richest? And they're ignoring all the other fucking dudes. I swear to God, that's how it is. So guys thought that they were getting judged by women by their looks. So guys thought, oh, if I'm just over 6 feet tall, I'm just gonna get women automatically. I'm gonna get laid. No, that's not how modern dating works. That's not reality. So maybe some guys get laid, Okay, they get hooked up, they fuck, they have children, but women are judging by other criteria, and that's a financial criteria. So, because they're materialistic and kind of women are materialistic bitches that are fucking, and there's a reason, there's an evolutionary reason for that, but it's the truth. I mean, we know why that is scientifically. We can tell you why women are acting like this. It's pretty logical. The guy with the most dough is going to provide the most harvest for her children, so that's why she's fucking those guys. Okay, it's not a mystery. But in a society that has less and less wealthy guys, that's a problem. With a disappearing middle class, with a disappearing working class, that's a huge problem for reproduction because you got less and less elite dudes that are wealthy because social economic stratification. It would be okay if Alex Becker, if there was just like one loser, and then there was a whole bunch of successful dudes who were wealthy, and all the women were flocking to these guys. It's a problem with reproduction if 90% of even fat and ugly women are going after all the top males and the big providers in society, the wealthy elite. That's a problem for society. So when ugly and not that good looking bitches are all competing for the top earners in the male society. That's a big issue. Yeah. So then every guy who doesn't stay single, they do it by 30 or 40. They marry a fat chick, an ugly chick, just to reproduce their name. Yeah. They might have dated some tens. They might have dated some cheerleaders and shit back in the day. But eventually, when you get old enough, you're like, fuck it. I have to get marry a fat girl because otherwise you're not gonna have your own children. Yeah. So a lot of guys they sold out to get pussy. They married ugly fat chicks. I don't compromise like that. I don't have a compromised personality, but a lot of guys do. I'm not marrying an ugly fat chick just because I need to get laid or I need to have children. It's just not happening. Sorry. It's just I'm sorry, but not sorry. It's not happening. Sorry. I do have standards. So I want my women, I want the butt, I want the tit, I want things looking tight. I want a beautiful woman. Like I don't want fucking, I don't compromise. So, well, I mean, look, I have standards for my art, right? I have standards for my women. I have standards for my education. I have standards for financial compensation. I have standards. And if those standards are violated, it's not good. And so I have standards for females as well. I want them to look fucking great. And that's just, inherently, because I don't want my children to be butt fucking ugly and have big ass noses and shit. That's why. That's the evolutionary thing. I'm sure there's plenty of lonely old fat women. Okay, I'm not that desperate. I could jerk off if you can always play with yourself. You know what I'm saying? So you can always go ding like that, and you can sperm into the air if you wanted to. Okay, so you can play with your dick, play with your penis. You can always do that. Okay, it's always there. As long as you have a penis, you can always touch yourself. It's not against the law to touch your own dick. So it doesn't help the human race procreate. It doesn't help the replacement rate of two children per family, but it helps you do that. You have this hash brown bone. All right. Get this on the dawn. But a lot of my friends that were like 30 going towards 40 were like, oh shit, I'm getting older. I need to go get an ugly fat chick. And I was not on board that team. I was like, no, I don't care. I mean, yeah, I guess the family could die off or whatever, but I'm not sticking my shit into a whale. I'm not sticking my penis into a whale, into an ugly whale, just because I want to get laid or procreate the human race. I know that's how fat, ugly chicks have been getting laid for millennia, but I was like, no, I'm not doing that. So, because I have standards. I know the human race is in danger of dying out, but I would rather die out than stick my penis into a fat girl that's ugly with warts and shit. I'm just not doing it. A lot of guys, they marry some fat, ugly chick because they blew it with the hot chicks, right? And so that's why they fucking did it, because they need a steady pussy. I'm not an idiot. I know why they're doing it. Yeah, I mean, it's like George Carlin. A lot of guys married early because they needed steady pussy. I'm not stupid. I realize that, but all right. So we're gonna get got the hash browns. Need to get the butter going on. So the problem with the neighbors is not that they're from Louisiana and they're black. It's just one kid's unsupervised. So he's doing unsupervised shit all the time. So he's playing with little kids with metal rods, dangerous metal rods. He's breaking old ladies' vases, plant, pottery. He's fucking throwing dirt everywhere. He's throwing turds everywhere. He's playing with turds. All right, normally I wouldn't be pissed, but now I'm pissed. Because it's like, why is this bullshit? Like, why is this kid not being... Why doesn't a father figure come and smack him in the ass, smack him in the face? I mean, it's like, this guy just does whatever he wants. And he's living in a woke society that doesn't punish black people because they think that's racist. Okay, so he just does. He's like, I'm black in America. I can do whatever the fuck I want. So now he's just running around, breaking all the laws and shit. Because he's like, I'm African. I can do whatever I want because I'm the privileged class. Okay, that's not good. This guy loves smashing rocks and putting it everywhere. The guy loves smashing glass. The guy loves just fucking up shit. And it's kind of like, so right now the neighborhood's like, we're going to tolerate black people because we're a tolerant society. And we're not supposed to be angry at black people. We're supposed to love the African Americans. Oh, their contributions. Their great contributions of breaking the old lady's pottery. Oh, these great contributions of African Americans. Ooh, look at these great look, they tell us on the TV every day. And every single commercial, there's a black guy with a redheaded white lady with 2 kids, and they're interracial, and the guy has, and the little interracial kids have fucked up faces and noses and, weird white afros and shit. Oh, this is just normal, right? So every day the commercials and the media is telling us the message that it's wonderful. Foreigners are wonderful. So every day, So a lot of people are just kind of, it's not like we're conditioned to be tolerant, but we're just kind of like, that's what the media tells us to do. It's like, be patient. They will become doctors one day when they're not burning down your house. When they're not raping your daughter, they're going to be wonderful contributions to society someday. So a lot of white people are just being patient. They're like, well, when is this? When is this dad with the 2 white kids? When is he going to show up? The responsible dad that shows up. People are kind of waiting. They're kind of like, ding, ding. They're watching. So we keep listening to the message that the media tells us about African Americans and about foreigners, and it's just not really working out like our fantasy. And it's not working out like the leftist fantasy, like the leftopia. It's just not working for us. So we're kind of like, okay, where's it at? Where's the leftopia? Where's the elite-topia? It's not here. So one day they figure the black kid is just going to fuck up something so bad. He's going to get on a doorbell and somebody's just going to call the cops. And the black kid's going to be on the Ring doorbell or on the camera capture, and he's going to be, getting a bat and breaking some old lady's, pottery, her plants, and then they're going to call the cops because he's not going to be a kid anymore. It's not going to be cute. He's going to be like 14, 15, 16, 17. Whatever he's going to do next, because he's just going to escalate, right? He's not going to, if there's no dad slapping him in the face or whipping his ass, then he's just going to get worse and worse and worse and graduate crime after crime. So what the neighborhood fears, like they fear that Islamic guy, Shamsud Den Shadin, or Jabbar. What the neighborhood fears is when is this guy going to graduate? He's going to start doing worse crimes. That's what the neighborhood is kind of bracing for. They're like, okay, he doesn't have a record yet, but we see signs that he loves breaking people's shit and fucking up the neighborhood. So what is he going to do when he turns 15, 16, 17? When there's no dad whooping his ass. Problems. But in polite society, we don't say, oh, we want black people from Louisiana to go back to Louisiana and New Orleans. We don't really say that, but we do. We say it in subtle ways. We don't want to announce it like, get out of here, people, black people from Louisiana. We don't want to do a show about it. All right. So some people are vocal about it, but some less than others. A lot of people want to be in this polite woke society, like, oh, everybody's equal. All the races and ethnicities and religions are equal because that's what they told us. We know that Everyone's not equal financially, socially, ethnically, racially, linguistically, but that's the myth that society tries to perpetuate. So we know about hierarchy. So most logical people know about social and economic and educational hierarchies and elite hierarchies. So we know that there's social stratification, there's economic stratification, there is different people with different skills and different races and different aptitudes. So that we know that even though it's cute in our American Constitution that all men are created equal under God, we know it's kind of a joke. Yeah. We just say all men are created equal under God because it sounds nice. Not because it's true, because it sounds good. It keeps people from killing everybody all the time. It sounds cute and sweet. All men are created equal, you know, because it keeps the society united enough to function. Let's get this egg going on down. Yeah. Are all men and women created equal? Well, I mean, one guy doesn't have nothing when he graduates high school, and then another guy has a $300,000 inheritance. So how is that equal? That's not equal. That's not at all equal. If society was equal, then every family would get a $400,000 inheritance, right? If it was truly equal equality, well, then everybody would have the same shit. Be like, they have the same opportunities, the same. All right. So if society was equal, then a poor guy would have the same chance as Barron Trump or Elon Musk's kid or something. But it's not true. Obviously, there's people with wealth and advantages and educational and certain advantages in life that are beyond normal people or poor people. So if you're trying to tell me that all people are created equal, then they'd have to get equal share. The leftist society, communist society, is saying that everybody's created equal when we know that's not true, and everybody does not have equal opportunity. That's not true. Life isn't fair. It never was, never will be. But we tell ourselves our society niceties like all men and women are created equal under God and all that bullshit. Diversity, equity, inclusion. Ooh. Yeah, we tell ourselves these little fairy tales, right? We tell society fairy tales like all the race and ethnicities, they're all perfectly aligned in the equality of communism or Marxism. That's not true. eggs going on. Make sure it doesn't burn my hands. Yeah, got the hash browns. Huh. That's pretty good eggs, huh? No doubt. Let's put the hash browns down, see if they like that. All right. Get some. Get it on, dog. So we want to be polite to the African American neighbors from Louisiana, but the day they set our car on fire, we're not going to be on good terms. It's just the way it is. So we tolerate foreigners and illegals and people from other countries and other cities and other colors and religions and stuff. We tolerate it for a while until we don't. Yeah. When they commit a crime, we're not going to tolerate criminals. This right here. That's not bleeding. Okay. I am like Jerry Maguire. I'm like, I love black people. But waving around metal swords, metal things like this black boy, it's going to hurt some kid's eye. It's just, there's no supervision with this black kid. That's pretty good. All right, this. Well, Christians believe in miracles, like, faith healing and shit like that, like Joel Osteen, prosperity gospel, stuff like that. So a lot of people do believe in God and the powers of Jesus Christ and God. And a lot of people, if you believe in God, then you have to believe in Satan too, the devil, Lucifer. So Lucifer also is someone who's powerful, at least on this earth, according to the gospel, according to Christian myth. Get this going on, Don. All right, have a cranberry. So Christians tend to believe in Moses lived for 800 years, unnaturally long life, and all these superhuman characteristics of the Bible. You know, David versus Goliath, all these superhumans that seem weak, they seem poor and pathetic, but they're super powerful, or Jesus is immortal, or, you know, there's all these gods with amazing powers, like Jesus can, you know, like turn water into wine, and he can fucking turn an empty dead lake into fish and bread and shit like that. He has magical superpowers. But Christianity does not believe in remote viewing, which is it's basically either meditation, trance, dreaming, or it's real dreaming, like REM, like we do every night when we're sleeping. They don't believe in you can see the future with remote viewing. So a lot of Christians don't believe in that, even though it's a phenomenon. Christians are totally fine that somebody can walk on water and can defy physics, but they're not fine that somebody can see the future or time travel for some reason. Because time travel isn't in Christian doctrine. It's not in the Bible. Time travel's not in there. Not really. All right, there's resurrection. There's death and resurrection and on a holy sense, but there's not time travel and there's not remote viewing really. Except for, well, remote viewing could also be called psychic power, or it could be called visions that John the Baptist gets, but it's still not preached that people can see visions. Because religious doctrine is saying that that's science fiction. It's not real. Stop my loving. Yeah, I do. You a sweetie. You a sweetie. You me lovey. Nah, 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 nah. So yeah, we tolerate the Louisiana neighbors for now, the Katrina neighbors, until one day, you know, the guy's gonna break up a whole bunch of rocks, and I'm gonna be trying to buy, and I'm gonna be sick of his shit. Yeah, one day, you know, the straw is gonna break the camel's back, as they say. Yeah, one day he's gonna set somebody's car on fire or break somebody's shit, and the shit's gonna hit the fan for the guy. It's not that we don't tolerate people. It's just we do have limits. That's the thing. Society does have limits with toleration. And it's still nippy in the thunderstorms, huh? Still nippy. Oh, yeah. Get that bacon. It got cold. I don't know.
A little ranch on the side, no? Yeah. That's it. I guess. Got a little water. We need to make some fresh tea, don't we? Yeah. So what's the punishment for my stabbing? What is he going to get? I could press charges and go in a pretty epic legal fight and punish him for what he's done. Yeah. I could punish you for the rest of your life. And punish you and punish you. But although that is an attractive idea, actually punishing and punishing for your crimes, even though the idea of punishment is the idea of punishment. I like that idea. Even though punishment is attractive to me, punishing criminals, punishing, 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 punish. The Punisher. Even though that is an attractive idea. I don't have nothing to benefit from this guy. It's not like he's leaving me. He's not my father, so he's not leaving me any money. So I have nothing to benefit from this guy. I just spare my mother pain by not punishing her ex-husband for stabbing me. So yeah, it's just a courtesy. It's just a favor. It's not really what I want to do. If I'm powerful enough to do it, I would have his ass in chains for at least 2 years in an orange jumpsuit getting raped by black dudes. Okay. So I'd rather have that where he's with crack addicts and drug dealers and criminals and gangbangers for 2 years and he's fucked. I'd rather have him, but he's an old man. He may not survive in there and so forth. I'm not saying that's sympathy or anything. I'm just saying, it's actually for my mother. It's really, my mercy is only for my mother. And my mercy doesn't hold when my mother's not part of the equation. So anybody else in the future that fucks with me and there's no grace for my mother, I'm going to punish them very hard, very harshly, very severely. They will be punished to maximum amounts of pain and suffering and toil. So I only extend this grace to my family members because, it's my mother. So that's it. I wouldn't extend this courtesy to anyone just for no reason. So that's just a particular grace. But when my mother passes away one day, anybody fucks with me, I'm going to wipe your ass. I'm going to wipe your ass clean of this world. I'm going to lay you on a fucking slab. So I'm going to fucking beat your ass. It's the truth. I'm not going to show any mercy either. When you get in my way, I'm going to fucking make sure you're all the way out of my fucking way. And I'm going to guarantee it. So anybody who fucks with me in the future, and my mother's not involved, your ass is fucked. Your ass is fucking grass. And that's a promise. It's not even a... So I extend this courtesy to my family only once. Only one time. It's not forever. Get it while you can on sale. It's called My Sympathy. It doesn't last for all time. Get Sympathy and Remorse on sale because I don't have it anymore. Get Human Sympathy and Remorse on sale. It's on discount. Just for this time. Get Human Feelings on sale. It's on discount. Compassion, remorse, sympathy. Those are on discount. They're not going to last forever, you know.